In today's lesson, we'll identify the 4 quadrants of the coordinate plane. We'll graph points on the plane given these coordinates in the table. And then we will find the coordinates of points on a graph. Okay, so let's start by talking about the 4 quadrants of the coordinate plane. So far, you should have all worked in quadrant 1 of the plane. Quadrant 1 of the plane is where you have positive x values and positive y values. So it's this area in the upper right-hand corner of the plane. Okay, let's talk for a minute about the 2 axes. The x-axis is the horizontal axis that goes across the middle, and the y-axis is the vertical axis that goes up and down. They cross at the point 0x, 0y, and that point is called the origin of the graph. Whenever we're looking for points, we're going to start from the origin. Okay, so let's talk about the other quadrants now. Quadrant 1 is the one we've already worked with. As we travel clockwise or counterclockwise around the plane, we come to quadrant 2. And then as we continue traveling counterclockwise, quadrant 3. And finally, quadrant 4. Okay. So you'll notice in quadrant 2 you have negative x values, positive y. In quadrant 3 you have negative x values and negative y values. And in quadrant 4 you have positive x values and negative y values. Now let's look at our table. Here's our x coordinate is 2 and our y coordinate is 1. So we're going to write that as the ordered pair 2, 2, 1. Okay? And that, remember that in ordered pairs, it's always x, then y. Just like in the alphabet, x before y. Okay, so now when we go graph that, we start at the origin and we move 2 to the right and up 1. And there's our point. 2, 1. Okay. Now, the next point, negative 2x, 1y. Negative 2x, 1y. Ordered pair. Okay, so we're going to start at the origin and move 2 to the left. Then up 1. And notice we're in quadrant 2. Negative x, positive y, quadrant 2. Okay, negative 2x, negative 1y. That will put us in quadrant 3. Negative 2x, negative 1y. So I'm going to travel from the origin 2 to the left and down 1. Okay? Last point. 2x, negative 1y. Positive 2x, negative 1y. And that will put us in quadrant 4. Start at the origin, 2 to the right, 2x, down 1, 1y. So that's 2, negative 1. This is negative 2, negative 1. And this was negative 2, positive 1. So that's how we graph points in all 4 quadrants of the coordinate plane. Now let's move down the worksheet and take a look at this. It says, now let's identify the vertices of the triangle and fill in the table. So we're going to be looking at the vertices, the corners of the triangle. And we'll notice this first one right here is at 0x, 0y. That's our origin, right? So we have 0x, 0y. Now if we come over here to quadrant, do you remember which one this is? Quadrant 3. If we come over here in quadrant 3, we have this point right here. It's at negative 3x, negative 4y. Negative 3, negative 4. Remember to always record negative 3, the x first, and then the y. Okay, and our last point is over here in which quadrant? Quadrant 4. Okay, it's over here in quadrant 4, and that would be 3x, right? And negative 2y. Okay. And that's it for today's lesson. We will work more with these graphs tomorrow in class. Have a good night.